Hey y'all, welcome to our South Georgia garden. Well, I'm here in our backyard orchard, standing next to a beautiful pear tree. I'm doing some work back here while Belinda's walking around the garden, seeing what's in bloom here in late February, assessing what needs to be done, and adding to our list of garden tasks. But I wanted to take you along while we cleaned up around these fruit trees. We've already posted a video about pruning fruit trees, but they need some more tender loving care. So the weeds and grass that have grown in around the base of them need to be cleaned out. Irrigation needs to be assessed, and then some fertilizer and some composted mulch needs to be applied. After that, they'll be all ready for a spring flush of growth, flowers, and hopefully a nice crop of fruit for us to enjoy. So come along. As I said, we're in the backyard orchard. Task on hand today is to clean up around these fruit trees. This pear tree, as you can see, the tree ring at the base has got a lot of weeds and pasture grass that are growing in around it that needs to be cleaned out. Once that's all cleaned out, I'll assess the irrigation, make any changes that are needed on that irrigation, and then we'll add some fertilizer, some compost, top dress it with some mulch, and it'll be ready for spring. As you can see, it's already put on some flowers, some growth on it. It's looking pretty good, but a little bit of tender loving care will go a long way in helping this tree produce some nice fruit for us this year. So let's get her done. Well, now that I've assessed the irrigation and made some changes on this irrigation, I'm testing it out. It's always good to test it out before you cover it up with any compost or mulch, because then you have to move everything back around in order to fix anything that's wrong. And I'm seeing that all of the emitters are putting out good flow, so this tree should get plenty of moisture. And even though these grass roots probably go deeper than what I've removed, it will at least give them this tree a good chance to keep out this grass and give us a good chance to keep it out. So now that my irrigation is working properly, I'll come in with a layer of composted mulch, which is that pine bark, cotton millings, and chicken manure, all mixed in together. We buy that locally from Mulch and More. I'll apply that, and then a light layer of cypress mulch to hold that moisture in. And this tree should be good to go for spring. And can't forget the step of adding some fertilizer to these trees. So, a little fertilizer around this tree. We use plant tone. As I've heard some gardeners say, plant tone is the Swiss Army knife of fertilizer. So a little dose of plant tone, and now my composted mulch and cypress mulch top dressing. And just in case anyone's wondering what this black tube is around the trunk of this pear tree, this is corrugated drain pipe. So it's used actually as a drain pipe, but if you cut it and put it, you have to split it down the side, as I've done here, snap it around your base of your trunk of your tree. Any type of critters, squirrels, rabbits, deer, anything that might rub or chew or do anything to damage this trunk can't get to it. So we'll leave this on here a little longer just to make sure that this tree is protected until it gets big enough that critters won't bother it. So this tree is ready for spring. Here's the pear tree with the grass and weeds removed from around it. It's been top dressed with some compost, fertilizer, and cypress mulch. So this tree is now ready to put on some more spring growth. And just beyond this pear tree is one of the peach trees that I also cleaned up around the tree ring. You can see that fresh cypress mulch that's been placed around it. Now these fruit trees in this orchard have been pruned, cleaned up around the tree ring. They've been fertilized, had some compost added to them, and some cypress mulch to help hold in the moisture. Wow, Belinda, that Jane magnolia sure looks good in the sun.
Yes, it does. And this firepower Nandina is really fiery red in this afternoon sun on this winter day here in South Georgia. It's kind of breezy, so it's blowing in the breeze and lighting up this bed. This is that bed that we extended, and everything is doing well. We're hoping those azaleas will give us some nice bloom a little later in the spring. And here at the entrance to the sidewalk leading up to the porch, on each side of the sidewalk, down below the stone urns, we have some of the sprawling rosemary, and it's putting on its beautiful blue blooms at this time. And of course, this is a wonderfully fragrant herb, rosemary. Of course, these Persanii junipers look lovely year-round with their evergreen foliage. And in these large stone urns, they look so windswept, almost as if they have been bonsai'd. But these are the natural look that as we got them from the nursery, and I just put them in the pots. They've been in these pots now. This is their third season. And underneath, I see some little blue vining flowers. Not remembering the name of them, but they sure are lovely. They're sort of a deep periwinkle blue. And here are the blossoms of some of our first daffodils that have come up. And here's another little beauty, bobbing its head in the breeze. A little ray of sunshine here. This one has the white outer petals, and behind it you see another one with the yellow outer petals and the orange cup. And these little cuties made me think that they were a multi-flowered daffodil on one stem, but they had just sort of bunched up together and tangled themselves up together, but they're actually on 3 different stalks. Just out here kind of playing together. There they go. Now I got them separated. How lovely. They're just wanting to cling together there. Maybe they know they're preparing for this little bit cold weather we got coming in this weekend. They sure are cute. And here's another one that's solid yellow. And hiding way down in this dormant grass are these teeniest, tiniest little lavenderish blue flowers. I see them nestled and hiding here. You have to I'm actually down on my knees to be able to film these. You just kind of walk over them and you don't even see them. This is actually how tiny they are. Isn't that magnificent? Such a neat little surprise. I'm not really sure what type plant it is. I'm going to have to research it. If any of you viewers know what it is, please put it below in the comments. So miniature and so unassuming out here in this dormant lawn. And here in my bird girl garden, you can see the scallions that I planted. Actually, this would be their 4th season in the ground. These are just scallions that I bought at the grocery store. I cut off the tops and sauteed the tops and enjoyed eating them. And I planted the root part just as an experiment to see what would happen. Here they are. They've come back each year, and their stalks, they've sent up their bloom stalks already, and I just let them bloom. I'm just doing them to be an ornamental. So I'm gonna let them bloom, and it's amazing the big white round balls that they put on. They remind me a little bit of the gladiator alliums. They're so large when they are ripe, but they're white. So I'll be sure and show you that as the blossoms emerge. And here's another surprise in my garden. Actually, this is a surprise that you can smell before you actually see it many times. As their name implies, they're very stinky. They are stinkhorn mushrooms. They're actually a fungi that you often find in decomposing wood, and this is in our mulch that's decomposing here in the garden. We have some of these, we've had some of these around several of our mulched beds, and they're not, again, as I said, they're not very pleasant smelling, but their stinky nature is what draws in insects into the plant, and those insects then disperse the spores or seeds of the stinkhorn mushroom. And in contrast to those stinkhorn mushrooms, we have some hyacinths that are emerging, and they have a wonderful fragrance, a strong perfume that's very wonderful. And here is a star magnolia. It's been in our garden for a little less than a year. Has these beautiful white blossoms that are fragrant, and we will keep it as a multi-trunked tree. Yes, it does become a tree. They are slow growing, but they can reach up to 15 to 20 feet tall and wide. So that's why we've positioned it a good way from the house, off the back porch, so that it has plenty of room to grow. And I definitely have to include in the surprises this wonderful verbena in bloom. It kind of makes my heart skip a beat when I see it here along the side of our bedroom window, because as we've told you earlier, this is the area that was just trampled with large machinery and workers when they were repairing and removing the large tree from this wall and repairing our house. But this verbena came through it. There's some weeds down there that I'll get out once we add a rose back to this trellis. We have some roses on order. We'll get that planted and do a little weeding around this verbena, but hopefully she's going to continue to shine for many years to come.
Well, Belinda, it's nice to be together on the back porch after spending some time doing some different things in the garden today.
Yes, you spent some time down in our backyard fruit orchard.
Yes, I did. Giving those fruit trees a little tender loving care and buttoning them up for spring.
Yes, and we had already done a video showing the pruning of our fruit trees. So if you're needing some information or you want to go back and look at those videos, those are already available.
Good point, yes. And you spent some time strolling around looking at assessing other parts of the garden, and I'm looking forward to hearing about that and seeing that.
Yes, I made a few lists of a few tasks we need to get done, and I found some surprises along the way, some things that are very colorful, even though it's late winter here, and a few things that think it's almost spring. So we did have a few blossoms kind of popping up.
And that just adds to the cheerfulness right now of spring. And it certainly feels like spring today with this nice blue sky, sunshine, and some white puffy clouds and maybe a few gray ones rolling in.
Yes, maybe they'll bring us a little bit of rain. We do need some rain.
We certainly do.
And being out in the garden is just good for your mind, body, and soul. So it was wonderful to be out today.
It always lifts our spirits and makes us feel better.
So if you're not able to be out in your garden, hopefully watching this video will maybe cheer you up and help you to start dreaming of spring. And if you are doing some tasks or have some surprises already in your garden, please send us a comment. We'd love to know what you're doing.
We certainly would. Well, sweetie, on that note, I think it's time for some sweet tea.
I think it is.
Cheers from our South Georgia garden.
Happy gardening!